Hey guys, welcome to the party. We are the Weekend Rockstars, your weekly podcast for all the tips, tricks, and licks you need for getting started in music. I am Scott Freeman, and with me as always is Mr. Billy looking at his phone, Deadman.
Greetings from the fourth dimension.
The fourth dimension. Oh man, how is it there? Is it sunny?
It's bizarre.
Bizarre.
Things move in all directions.
Yeah, man. Oh man, I remember when we saw Interstellar after a long day of recording. This is going back 6 years now.
On the first album.
Yeah, it was on the first album. You finished all your bass parts, and we went to see Interstellar. I thought, oh, this would be a cool way to finish the week. And it just I was so tired.
I believe that was my payment for the.
It was.
ticket to see Interstellar.
And I got you a few beers the night before.
Yeah, it was great.
It was good. Yeah, man, that was. I just melted my brain when they went to the fourth dimension at the end.
Yeah.
And Tenet, which we both saw on Friday, again, I think melted my brain.
My brain still hurts.
Yeah. It's all about time travel. Tenet, and we talked about how can we do some sort of Tenet based podcast, integrate that into the Weekend Rockstars, and we couldn't come up with anything. But today we are doing a podcast on time management. Yes. So we're going to be talking about time management and how you handle that as a musician, and how to do it well, and what things to kind of avoid. So this is a topic you wanted to discuss in particular, Billy. Any reason why?
Yeah, I guess I think it's one of those things where it's really important, I think, for people in the creative industries, such as music, to think about how they're using their time, and how they're going to manage their time to basically not go crazy.
Yeah.
Because you could, if you put way too much time into one thing, you're going to be missing out on the other things, basically, and we'll get into it. But basically, I guess what also it stemmed from is that basically with my indie band over the weekend, unfortunately, had the news that our lead guitarist couldn't commit to the band anymore.
Yeah.
Because of his own circumstances, where he just didn't have the time to do it. With everything else going on in his life, so it just felt like a poignant topic for the week, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that news.
It's all right. I mean, I'm glad. It goes back to one that I think was what our first or second topic about making a band and how things can go awry.
Yes.
I think he went about it in a very professional and honest manner, where it didn't. It dragged on a bit. We all saw it coming, to be honest. But now it's happened. It's like we can all move on. We can all we're all still friends. I mean, I'm still in another band with him anyway.
Yeah, that's quite unique.
Yeah, still love the guy. So it's just we can now rebuild and have a third chapter in the mighty Fuzzwalker annuals.
Okay.
So
good.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So it's just like one of those things where I think it's good to. I think we should discuss ways to manage your time and what that entails, really.
Okay, so I'd like to start off by just asking a blanket question. Billy, are you good at time management?
I think I am pretty good at time management, right?
Yeah.
I'm in 2 bands. I have a fiance, a full-time job. I have a wedding to plan.
Yeah.
I have a podcast to co-host.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm managing pretty well. It keeps me really busy. And certain other hobbies in my life have taken a hit.
Yeah.
Notably, video gaming.
Yes.
But that's okay. Video games are one of those things where it's like it's there for when you have downtime, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in a way, it's a good thing. I'm not spending like hours of my day on furlough anymore playing video games.
Yeah. It's not like, if you don't play video games for a while, they don't start texting you going, "Hey, why aren't you playing me anymore?"
Exactly.
If you're ignoring your bandmates, they might call you up and be like, "Hey, why are you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, that basically means that obviously I work 9 to 5, essentially, Monday to Friday. And in the evenings, I'm going to be spending them with my fiancée.
Yeah.
And mostly on the weekends as well, unless we have gigs, not gigging at the moment. But it also means that I'm committed to doing at least one rehearsal with each band each week. So that's 2 rehearsals a week.
Yeah.
And that usually means that I have to think about a week or 2 ahead at a time.
Yeah.
Get that planned in a calendar and a diary.
Yeah.
And then also for gigs, if a gig comes up, it's all about managing, when that gig's coming up, putting that in the diary, putting that in the calendar, and not double booking yourself.
Okay, so you mentioned that you use a diary. Do you use a physical diary or do you use your phone?
I use Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Which I think is the easiest calendar to use, because basically, I mean, if you haven't used it before, you can set your calendar up and you can share it with other people that have their Gmail accounts, and you can all see each other's dates, and you can edit things, and it just updates it on all your devices wherever you log into it. I think it's the perfect way of keeping that up to date, really.
Okay, so when you're adding things to your calendar, do you color code things for different things? That's what I do.
Yeah.
I use green for non-music things and orange for music-related things.
For me, I mean, I've got basically when I log into Google Calendar, I've got I think 3 or 4 different email addresses that have their own calendar, and I can see all of them. So I've got a yellow one for Fuzzwalker, a red one for Brave Rival.
Yeah.
I think I've got a green one for mine and my fiance's activities. And then a blue one that's just me if I wanted to put something for just me. Yeah. But I don't really tend to do that, but yeah.
Sit and play video games.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think from that aspect of organising when I'm doing things, I'm pretty much on top of things.
Yeah. Does it stress you out having to organise all these different things? Because that's quite a lot, like 2 bands, a podcast, a fiancé to plan a wedding with and spend time with, and also a full-time job 9 to 5. I mean, does it stress you out having to organise things, or does it?
No, I think as well. I think it would if there was like more things than like if it, I think I only have at the moment obviously no gigs. And I have, 2 rehearsals a week, which I want to do anyway. So that's fine, really. That's like the perfect balance. That's I think what we're going to keep going back to is the balance of it. If suddenly I had to do 7 rehearsals a week or something, more than there are days, maybe even like 8 rehearsals a week.
Yeah.
Or like I've got a gig a night, as well as rehearsals, as well as job, and all that. You could burn yourself out, and I think that's where the time management aspect comes in, the balance aspect comes in. Because you don't want to burn yourself out as a creative, because then you'll just be tired and you won't be putting out your best work.
Yeah. So you feel like do you space your stuff out in the week? Are you good at that, or
try to? But it has been. I mean, just this past week, I had a Brave Rival rehearsal on Sunday, which was also a gig, a live stream gig, and then the following day, had a Fuzzwalker rehearsal. Yeah. So it can be back to back, which it's just I have the energy at the moment to do that. It's fine. Yeah. So
that's good. So I think I mean, as I listed those several things that you have in your every week, podcast, two bands, potential gigs, fiance, wedding planning, full-time job. I think there's other people who would struggle with just half of that. To manage half of that.
Yeah, I mean, even like we always take the piss out of him, like Matt in Fuzzwalker. Yeah. Doesn't have the best. I think he's getting better, but he didn't used to have the very best like time management skills. He'd constantly like be late to things, or he'd forget about whatever, and I think that just basically came down to the fact that he wasn't using a calendar.
Yeah.
And I think now he is. It's definitely calendar's definitely essential if you're gonna manage your activities as a musician.
Yeah.
You gotta have an up to date calendar, and you gotta be. I have come up a cropper where I haven't added a gig to the calendar for say Fuzzwalker. I knew the gig was happening, but then I would say to everyone else, "Oh yeah, we've got that gig next month," and then there was someone like, "What gig?" "Oh no, I've got something else going on that now."
Yeah.
But what? No, I told you about this gig.
Yeah.
I now realised I forgot to update the calendar.
Yeah.
And that can cause all kinds of issues.
Yeah. Human error.
Yeah, human error, totally human error. Or even, I guess even like recently, like I double booked myself for things like a meal out with fiance's sister and her, had to rearrange things for this. So yeah, so it happens.
Okay. Yeah.
I say I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Yeah. It's tricky, but as you mentioned, there are people who struggle with time management, and I've known several people where will plan things in advance and they'll completely forget, and you go, do you not have a calendar? Do you not write things down?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I honestly think Google Calendars is a really good one. Or if people still use diaries, I buy one probably every year and barely write in it. I mostly write song lyrics in my diary.
I'm not much of a physical writer. I like using me technology, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's handy because we're all cyborgs now attached to our phones. So I mean, and you can set your calendar to give you alerts and things.
In the future, we'll have microchips in our brains.
That's the future in a couple of years.
I literally, I read an article today that Elon Musk has successfully put a microchip on a pig's brain.
I would not doubt it.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. That's Elon Musk for you. In terms of my time management, I think I'm pretty good. Occasionally I'll double book something, but very rarely. Maybe like once a year. Like I'm usually pretty like airtight, and
I'd say you have a pretty what's the word, full on schedule as well. Maybe a similar level of workload in that you've got your YouTube channel, which you're doing a bunch of videos for each week. Yeah. And the gigging that we can't do anymore.
Yeah, the gigging we can't do. Yeah.
And the job you do as well. So you got quite a busy, hectic schedule as well.
It's always a lot. I think I benefit though in that I haven't had an actual relationship in 7 years, so that probably helps. I don't have to.
Ladies.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good time.
Yeah. Don't call me. But that's the thing. It's like, I think if I was in a relationship, would my time look differently? Would I be able to do 3 videos a week? I look back at, the last however many years, and I've done so much, and I probably wouldn't have got half of that done, if I'd been with someone, because you just, I don't know, when you're in a relationship, you kind of you and the other person, you kind of almost become like one person. Yeah. In a way, you almost operate as one person, and not saying your identity is eclipsed, but you want to spend lots of time with them if you love the person. And I remember when I was 17 and I got in probably like my first serious relationship.
Yeah.
And I was in a band. I was in a band with Tom, and I just stopped putting as much energy into it, because I was with this girl, and so I just started drifting away, and that's weird for me, but it just can happen sometimes. Yeah. Have you found that where you've, maybe not right now, but maybe right now, but in the past, have you ever been in a relationship where you've kind of drifted away from doing music as much?
Not really yet, I guess.
Yeah.
If anything, I drifted away from the relationship for the music.
Yeah.
Like when Fuzzwalker started.
Yeah, yeah.
As I was in a very long-term relationship there, and I wasn't very happy in that relationship anyway. And when I started Fuzzwalker, it became like my number one thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like 110% into building this new band up. So
yeah.
So
that can be. I found it can be a tricky thing in the past. I've sometimes years ago now, because it's been a long time, but would say to girlfriend, I'd say, hey, I've got to go do a music thing, and they get really annoyed at me and be like, oh, you're
I
doing
had that with
so much music stuff.
I it's the old gig widow or band widow, where like I'd be rehearsing, I'd be gigging a lot. I mean, I used to gig loads like with my first big band, where I was gigging like 4 times a week sometimes, and I think that wound that person up because I wasn't home a lot.
So is there, being in a relationship as you are now, I mean, you're engaged now, I mean, is there an art, is there a balance to it, is there an art to sort of like making time for the person you're with and then making time for the music, is there a balance, or is it kind of just things come and go?
You keep coming back to the whole balance of it, and I think you got to make time for each other, and you just trying to think of the right words here, really. Like it's easier in a way because my partner now is so much more supportive, I think, of the bands, and even like I can lean on that person more, so it's different.
Well, I think that's important. If you really want to do something with your music and you're with someone that's not supportive, that's difficult, and I'm sure historically that's probably led to breakups for some people.
It would do.
I mean, one fear for me now, not wanting to make this whole thing about relationships, but when I've dated girls in the past, and like past few years, and it seems they want to get quite serious, it makes me back off quite quickly, because I'm just like, well, I kind of want to do stuff with my music, and I don't really fancy all the serious relationship stuff. I kind of fear that falling in love with someone and then doing music less. I don't know if that's me being irrational.
Maybe slightly. I don't know. Like, I think if you meet the right person, it will just work. Anyways, and you'll be just as inspired to do music and everything. Anyways, so
that's the hope. No, crikey, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe like music fills a hole for me, because the last girl I was properly with, I kind of like once had a dream of like just like getting a farm with her and like not doing music anymore, and I kind of like woke up from that one day. I was like, what am I doing?
I don't want a farm.
I don't want a farm. What is this? What is this love thing doing to me?
Interesting.
But yeah, time management, man, it's a tricky thing,
Have you ever had? Can you give me have you got any funny stories or funny like moments where you've cocked up your time management, like, and it's all gone a bit tits up?
Yes, I can. Yeah. So I was in my last year of uni, and I was doing so much outside of class. We were running a theatre company, and I was gigging, and I was doing stuff in my church, and like just doing loads and loads of stuff. And I double booked in a really awkward way. I'd spent the whole semester working on this play, this sort of set of monologues that was going to go on at the local theatre. It wasn't a massive theatre, and it wasn't a massive production, but they had sold out, and we practiced a lot, and I accidentally booked a gig the same night. Thing is, I was the opening act, and I would finish my set before they went on stage. 15 minutes before they went on stage, my set would end. And so I said to the guy running it, look, I'm really sorry, I don't know how I've done it, but I've booked myself into this gig I can't get out of, is it going to be okay if I do both? And this guy got really annoyed at me.
Oh, I bet.
you know, and I was just like, look, I will be there. I'll have a taxi waiting for me at that exact time outside, and I will get to the theatre.
Yeah.
And so I had to put someone else in charge of like running lines with the actors, with my friends essentially.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that I wasn't there for like the tech rehearsal and everything for this thing I'd put such like a big importance on,
Yeah.
you know, it looked bad on me, and it made everyone's kind of energy drop a bit.
Yeah.
And so that was just a big mistake. I should have found a way to cancel the gig, and I got there with seconds to spare before they went on stage. You know, I had to jump in a taxi, which took me like a 10-minute ride around Winchester, got to the theatre, ran inside, breathless, and I was just like, I'm here, and just everyone was so bemused.
Yeah.
And the gig was awful as well. It was just, there was no one there. It was just a mess. And I didn't work with a lot of the people from that, you know.
It's a lesson to learn almost.
Lesson to learn, like if you double book something, like look at what the more important thing is, and like cancel the other thing. Yeah. You know. I have done that with friends as well. I've accidentally double booked, and I have to go, you know, sadly, who do I want to spend time with more out of the two of these people and do that? You know, it's just, you know, it's just, these things happen. How about you, man?
I'm trying to think of, one funny example, I guess, is the time I got caught speeding.
Oh, no.
Because I was late to get to where I needed to go, and I was on the M1, and it was average speed cameras, and I guess I was just going a bit too fast, and I got caught out.
Yeah.
So that's my own fault for running a bit late, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Don't speed, kids. Yeah. It's bad.
It's bad for you.
It's very bad for you.
Get big fines.
Yeah, bad for your pocketbook as well. Yeah. Sitting in those, you know, those things they make you sit in.
The speed awareness courses.
Yeah. Oh, dear, man.
Not fun.
I've only done one. I hope I never have to do another.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And so it's also, I think one other thing about time management is it's figuring out what's the best use of your time as well. You know, I've looked up to Steve Jobs a lot over the years, you know, for all his innovations at Apple with technology, and read up a lot of stuff he's said, you know, and, you know, he said, you know, like he would only devote times to things that were like most important to him and that were going to like progress his career further, you know, and would just not do anything else that was like, you know, against that, you know. So he had a very driven, focused schedule, and I like the idea of that, but I think certain people are workhorses, you know, where they can just just keep chugging it out and keep going. Me, I kind of need to make time to waste time, if you know what I'm saying.
I know what you mean.
It just I need to sort of like make time to just do nothing at all.
That's kind of like me. I will do as many chores as all the chores in the flat, say, right? I'm all done, just so I can then do nothing. I mean, if I was lazy, I guess I could just do nothing. But but I wanted to get everything out of the way, so then I feel like I've at least done something.
It's that small sense of accomplishment where you get things done around the house. Yeah, man. So I think in terms of picking the right things to, you know, use for your time, I think, you know, as for myself, every week I look at what is the best use of my time with my music. So I've got my YouTube videos, and I've decided to do the YouTube on a weekly basis, you know, because I feel like there's a future to doing your music online, you know, and I've seen a lot of funny things come from it, you know, and I want to keep doing it.
It's really working for you, so
it's working, and so that's what I pour my energy into. But there's so many different things you could dedicate your time to, you know. I could dedicate my time, a lot of time, to scheduling posts for Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn if I really wanted to. Pinterest, who knows? I could spend loads of Bebo. I could spend time building a website and doing a lot of things there. There's all these different things, but I just try to think every week, what's the one thing I should be doing this week to push myself further. And most of the time that's making YouTube videos and trying to get that in front of many eyes as possible. You know, do you work in a similar vein with the music?
Yeah, it's something with focusing on what you should be doing. When you're in a band situation, it's a bit weird because obviously you gotta like all agree on what you should all be focusing on in a way.
On your direction, yeah.
And like it's happened to me before, like where we'll be writing loads and loads of music, which is great. But when you've got a deadline coming up for when you want to record the album, or whatever, like an album you're going to record or whatever you're going to record, EP, and you just keep writing more music, which it's weird because like you got more than enough music to choose from already, and I'm just like, why are we bothering to put energy into writing more when we could just work on what we've got already and make it even better? Because there's always polish that you can make to a song, especially in the pre-production phase before you're recording it, and planning for that. So it just feels like it's a never-ending cycle otherwise, where you just never achieve anything because you never get around to doing, like, deciding what's going to be on the album almost. That's kind of something that happens, I think. And also when it comes to marketing your band, like deciding where the best place to push things is very important. Like which social platforms you should use. Are you going to use one? Are you going to use all of them? And depending on the skill set of the people in the band, like what content you can create, videos, pictures, or audio, podcasts, it really depends on what skills you have as a band. And I think discussing with the band that you have and deciding on the best course of action, the best use of all your energy is gonna be the most beneficial in it. So
yeah. And so with your two bands, Fuzzwalker and Brave Rival, do you guys sit down and discuss, where you want to take the bands, what direction, and like set goals and how you're going to use your time?
Yes and no, I guess. I think every band discusses where they, we want to be the biggest band in the world. That sort of thing. Like we all have that, but I think you got to work your way backwards from that in a way. Like have goals like, we want to get to the stage where we can do little tours, and then after that we want to be able to do support tours like nationally or whatever, and then we want to get to the point where we're headlining tours nationally, and it's sort of those sort of steps. But obviously there's loads of little steps in between that to get there. But it's also like discussing like what kind of venues you want to play, what kind, all that sort of thing, like, and then focusing your efforts on getting those right type of gigs, and ignoring the gigs that aren't going to be beneficial to you. Creating the right kind of content for the band that's going to be most beneficial for attracting eyes and ears to you. It's a whole balancing act again. Like it keeps going about the balance and the balance of everyone's time and your own time. And how if you put too much pressure on yourself, that could also affect your mental health. It's all it's a balancing act. It's a big old balancing act.
So what would you say is the thing that bands starting out should like spend most of their time working on?
I think writing, like I said, a big old whinge about writing too much music. But I think when you're starting out, it is I would say write loads when you're starting out, because you're not in a position where you want to record. Write loads until you've got loads and you're starting to get really good songs together. And then you would start thinking about recording. I think initially, starting out, you want to be writing loads, doing the odd show here and there to try out the material live, and then sort of reassessing maybe after like half a year to a year of doing that, and seeing where you think what's going right, what's going wrong, and tweaking the system almost,
That's cool. So I set out goals, because I think you can have a dream, but actually you need to you need to have goals, as you say.
Yeah.
You need to set goals. My goal for next year is before I hit 30 in July next year, the first 6 months of next year, I'm going to try and get a song on a TV show or a movie or an advert or something like that.
See, that's cool. That's a good point, actually. Mate, if you write down the goal, then it's a real goal. That's another thing that I've been told,
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's working towards that. And so got my songs on a platform where you can send off to these, producers and things. So, I think if I can get 2 cats and a Whiskers advert, I'll be set for life. Yeah, that would be cool. And so, I think that's what I'm going to pour my time into next year, because I think actually for me moving forwards, it'd be really nice to actually have a bit of money behind me from my music. But also it's something I haven't done before. I've never made that a goal.
Yeah.
And so I'm always looking at all the different things I could be doing to push forward and thinking, okay, let's try this one thing for 6 months and go for it.
I'd love to get a song on a video game.
Oh,
or a TV show, whatever, anything like that. But that'd be awesome.
That would be amazing.
I mean, the closest we got, actually, we had songs on an indie movie that was like a straight to DVD movie.
Yeah.
Bargain bucket bin in a HMV,
That's
which was cool.
Yeah.
The movie was not good.
No.
But it's cool that our music was used on it.
Did you get royalties for it?
No, they made us basically, because they didn't have the budget for it, they made us sign this thing that we wouldn't try and claim any royalties for it. It was bullshit, basically.
That's lame.
Yeah. Don't do that, kids.
Yeah.
We just wanted to be like on a movie.
Yeah.
We thought, maybe if it's a good movie, like people will check out the band. But
your music's in the movie.
Yeah.
That's
we're in the movie. I'm in the background of it.
You're in the background.
So,
yeah, I remember you doing that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Is there anything about time management that flares up to you that you think is important that people sort of, think about when it comes to music?
Time signatures.
Time signatures, also very important.
Yeah.
Learn how to play in 5/4, kids.
Yeah. No. I think we've covered a lot of the points I wanted to make today. I think in terms of finding the right work, music, life balance that works for you. I mean, some people can, as you say, like be total workhorses, and that's great for them. They're totally satisfied. Some people don't have the energy for that. You just got to find out what works for you and what works for your band if you're in a band of people.
Yeah.
And all kind of agree on that, because it's nothing worse than being in a band where someone's not as committed as the others.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of got to be on the same sort of level of commitment for it to work, really.
Yeah. I can't remember who said it, but I heard it said years ago, and it's really stuck with me. They said, without commitment, you cannot have depth in anything.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to do something and want to have, depth in it and like really dig into it, you need to be committed to it. And if you're not, it just.
If you're not making moves, you're standing still.
That's it. It's totally it. Yeah. Yeah, man. Cool. Well, it's been a fun podcast. And this is, it's important stuff. I think at the end of the day, people should get a calendar and stick to it and know what your limit is. If doing as much as what Billy does a week, stresses you out, don't do it. Trim back if you only have so much mental energy to do so many tasks, then limit it, or realize.
Like if it started getting a bit too much for even me, I would be like, oh look guys, I need a week off this week.
Yeah.
You just got to take some time for yourself sometimes to recharge.
That's it.
Sometimes they just naturally come back anyway because no one can rehearse that week or something. But it's definitely a thing to always keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And make sure you get into a relationship with someone that supports your music, because that's important.
Very important.
Cool beans. Well, this has been fun. We should be back next week. Till then, I'm Scott Freeman.
And I'm Billy Dipman.
See you later. Peace.